coming in, and you can see folks being taken away in wheelchairs. And on the live feed, this is, listen please. Okay. Just a few minutes ago, we were showing you pictures that I told you were new video in. This is not new video. Well, yes, it is, because live pictures do not cut like that. This is new video that's just come in, and let's just listen. In case you're just joining us, at 21 minutes past 3 o'clock in Boston, there has been at least one, and witnesses report 2 explosions near the finish line of the Boston Marathon, and I have new information for you.
I mean, people have been blown apart. They're dead. I mean, there's where the window is, the windows are all blown out, and there's probably about 3 for sure that are dead, at least.
Well, this is how the beginning of every scene happens. And what we can hope is that somebody, well, my goodness, an unthinkable scene in Boston this afternoon. It is quickly becoming clear that we're in the middle of a disaster in that city. At least 1 explosion has happened, possibly 2. We know that dozens are injured. We have reports, not from authorities or anyone else, of actually seeing victims who did not make it out of this alive. We do not see an enormous amount of structural damage at all. What we see is windows that are blown out and people who are injured who came from behind those glass walls. It's our belief that that's a hotel there, but I'm sure some of the people in the sound of my voice know people in Boston and know people at this marathon and know people who work in those buildings, and would be wrong for us to start guessing about where anything was or who did anything or anything else. For all we know, there's a kitchen in there, and a gas line ruptured and it exploded, and we have a horrible outcome. Of course, whenever you have an enormous public event like this, the oldest of its kind in all the nation, on Patriots' Day, there are reasons for concern. And because we don't know whether those reasons are based in any sort of fact at this moment, I'm going to read for you the latest that we have from the scene. And quoting from the Associated Press, 2 explosions shattered the euphoria of the Boston Marathon finish line today, sending authorities out on the course to try to carry off the injured, while the stragglers in the 26.2-mile trek from Hopkinton were rerouted away from the smoking site of the blast. Competitors and race organizers were crying as they fled in chaos. Bloody spectators were being carried to the medical tent that had been set up to care for fatigued runners. Quoting here, "There are a lot of people down," one man said, whose bib number 17528 identified him as a man from North Carolina. He was not injured, but marathon workers were carrying one woman who did not appear to be a runner. She was bleeding. About 3 hours after the winners crossed the line, there was a loud explosion on the north side of Boylston Street, just before the photo bridge that marks the finish line of this marathon. Then another thunderous explosion could be heard a few seconds later. Runner Laura McLean of Toronto said that she heard 2 explosions outside the medical tent. Quoting, "There are people who are really, really bloody," McLean said. They were pulling them into the medical tent. Quote, "I was expecting my husband any minute," she said. "I don't know what this building is. It just blew. A big bomb, a loud boom, and then glass everywhere. Something hit my head. I don't know what it was. I ducked." That's what we have, and these are the pictures as they are coming into us from My Fox 25 in Boston. Our local anchors and reporters are on scene. Let's listen in.
He knows what he's doing. He was the head of Boston EMS, and then he went to go work under the Obama administration. And he said, "I wouldn't miss this for the world." He was here. He loves the Boston Marathon, and you know that he's sort of helping with a triage. And you know that he's on the scene, and he's making sure that people are getting the help they need.
Absolutely.
My heart just breaks for anybody who's hurt or if this has happened to them. It's just devastating. Just devastating. So again, Mike, let me just repeat what I know at about, I don't even know what time it was, but for the runners, the last group of runners that went off at 10:40, this was the 4-hour mark, and that's when they had just crossed the finish line, right at 4 hours, and that's when you heard an explosion, and then you heard an explosion following that as well. And there was a big plume of smoke. I didn't see any residual or any smoke I'm sorry. I didn't see any of that with the second explosion, but with the first one, it was definitely significant, and it was on the side of a building. Guys, daughter Isabella, is that where the Jumbotron was?
The woman whom you're hearing speak now is a reporter for our station in Boston who was there when this happened. Let's listen.
I'm saying that just for context and wondering if maybe that's where it was. But right where the Jumbotron was, where all the few people who were there, they could look up at it. That's where the explosion was, on the side of that building.
Wow, so that's right there on that left side. Again, Maria pointing out that you have the Boston Public Library on the right side. The explosions, according to Maria, appeared to have happened on the left-hand side there.
If you're going down Boylston into like towards the Commons.
Traveling the way the runners were traveling. It was on their left.
Exactly.
And it was crowded. I mean, tell us how crowded it was. You were there cheering on your husband.
It was packed. I mean, they were coming through. It was packed, Mike. I tell you, there were a lot of people coming through the finish line at that moment. So, and all the people are there. They're 10 deep on the sidelines waiting for their loved one to come in. So you have all of those people who were right there. Now, again, it looked like the explosion happened halfway up the building, so it doesn't look like it happened on the ground floor. This is all I can tell you about my recollection by turning around. And, that's the building. Stuff is falling from the building. I don't know, who it hit or how it hit. The building was still standing, but there was a definite explosion. I did send you guys a picture. I'm hoping that it comes through.
Interesting. So, Maria, again, just to make this point, since you were right there, you're saying from what you could see, it didn't seem like the explosion happened on the ground, but actually happened in the building?
Exactly, Mike. In the middle of a building. I was right there. I turned around, and you saw the plume of smoke in the middle of the building. You heard the explosion. It forced you to just jerk your head and turn around.